Well, it's certainly my pleasure to be invited back here to do this again. I was last here 3 years ago, and I think there's some younger siblings of that class here tonight. I'm not sure, though, why I got asked to do this again, because I used to be a young pastor, but in 3 years I've officially become an old man. I can tell you how I know this. I was in the class of 90, which means, do your math, I graduated 19 years ago. My daughter enters kindergarten this fall. I am now closer to her graduation than my own. So I am officially an old man. And I was here 3 years ago. I don't remember doing a lot of preaching. I just remember complaining to the class of, 2006 about how lucky you kids have it today. I'll try to do better than that tonight. In my 11 years of parish ministry, I've tried to, quote, relate to young people. And while you're in your 20s, you can kind of pull that off when you're just out of college and seminary. But I'm 37 now. I'm officially to the point where I have to admit I'm getting older. The last concert I went to was to see a man who's older than most of your dads. I went to see Bruce Springsteen. And they might as well have had ads for AARP. Yes. Sorry, folks. You're older than I am. The next concert I'm going to is a band that I liked in the 90s, the last toured when none of you fellows could probably shave yet, back in the good old days of 2004. I'm remembering as I get older that when I was younger, each year was full of everything. And 5 years, think of all you've done in the last 5 years, that's half your lifetime. As you get older, it spreads out a little bit more. This also can spread out a little bit more. I went to the last 10 CDs I bought, and I realized that all of them were albums that were by bands whose first album was out in the early 90s, except one who was in the 1950s, a fellow who played with Otis Redding. And then I realized, wait a minute, you actually bought CDs, so that just makes you an old man right there. When I say these words, Fall Out Boy, the first two rows here, think of a band. I think of the Simpsons reference from the episode aired May 22nd, 1991, when you were in diapers. When Milhouse got to play Fall Out Boy in the Radioactive Man movie. And now, it's a band. And I wouldn't even know Fall Out Boy from My Chemical Romance or My Morning Jacket or whatever three-word emo band that starts with mine. But if you really want to know how old somebody is, you just have to find out how they use Facebook. And here I can provide my expertise. I am of Generation X. I grew up as the internet evolved. My college got email while I was there, and they were on dial-up. That's how much the world has changed since I left high school. And thankfully, and I think anybody over the age of, say, 35 to 40 can relate to this. Imagine if when you were young and doing stupid things, somebody had a digital camera at every turn. Imagine if every poor choice you ever made was documented for millions to see. That's the world you didn't grow up in. That's the world you all live in. And I just want to offer this bit of advice. You don't have to photograph every single thing you do. You are not living on a reality show. And you may someday want this thing called a job. So, you just don't have to do all that. And let's be honest, Facebook is for old people now anyway. It is the single most efficient way to force people to see pictures of your children or grandchildren, and that is what it's for now. There are Facebook friends of mine in this room right now who have probably already seen pictures of my daughter's ballet recital from yesterday. But now here's the really scary thing. My wife, who's also my age, has some friends on Facebook that say things now like this. Who needs a high school reunion when we have Facebook? We get the same thing done now anyway and catch up with everyone. Now I want you to keep that quote in mind as I get to my point, and I do promise you I am getting to one. But first I want to show you a Christmas present I got in 2007. As I've given up on keeping up with current music, I was given a new toy so I could remember some of the music that's now become classic rock. And if you had told me when I was graduating high school that someday Guns N' Roses would be called classic rock, I would have laughed in your face. But here we are. And so here it is. My new toy, and I love it. I love it. And I personalized it with stickers. Yes, all over. And I play it left-handed, and it's mine. And I want to play for you one of my favorite rock songs from the 80s. In fact, my mom took me in a van load of us to Hershey Park to hear this song live. in the summer of 1986 on a hot summer day. Ready? You recognize it? Let me do another riff. Nothing? Come on! That's so obvious! It's a classic! That's Bon Jovi, Wanted Dead or Alive. How do you not know that song? Okay, all right. It's a little old, and there might be one of you who is saying to yourself right now, actually, that's a Guitar Hero controller, and that song is on Rock Band. And if you are saying that to yourself right now, you are a bigger geek than I am, and you need to get out this summer. Get into the sun, go outside. It will do you well before you start college. Well, I guess you're not going to get much out of that tonight. But I promise you, if I had my PS2 here, no PS3 haters. I have a PS2. No laughing. If I had that and my TV and speakers, it would sound awesome. It would even sound like I had a whole band backing me up. It's great fun if you like a simulation. And that's all this game is. It's not real. And there's a word that we keep redefining as technology brings us closer to virtual realities, a coin that was phrased when I was in high school. What is real and what is fake? Coming closer to the experience of the real thing, sometimes we are shown even more starkly how something that's fake isn't real. I give you tofurkey. Are you familiar with tofurkey? It's tofu. If you want to have something that tastes like turkey but you don't want to eat meat, it's shaped and formed, and the more you shape tofurkey into the shape of a drumstick and try to fry it, the more you realize it really is not turkey. There is a lot in our world that approaches reality, but it's not reality. And now I'm about to get to my actual point here that does in fact have something to do with God.